And if you could speak to this as well, when I talk to people about things like this, sometimes I get the response of, well, I don't want to be dumping my yeast out of the tank. And sometimes this is also attached to this notion of lager yeast being bottom fermenting. Okay. Can you touch on that a little bit? So like, would it be a concern for you at 12, 24 hours for cone shaving that you're going to be dumping the pitch that you just poured in there?
Yeah, let's be clear about the type of ferment, the type of yeast. Like if it's 12, 14 hours on an ale, then really that time point is probably more like 24, 36 on a lager, right? So I would be cautious with the lager because depending on the tank design and what you're pitching and how you're pitching it, you absolutely can have that yeast just drop to the bottom. And you don't want to just drop that yeast off before it's fully done growing.
Sure.
So giving it that time.
Is the yeast at the bottom when it's growing, or is it in solution?
Well, it's usually both.
Okay.
The whole top fermenting, bottom fermenting thing is like, it's not black or white. Like you do still get foam on lager. It's just that you have more of that yeast at the bottom or in solution than an ale, where you will get that crazy foam on top from yeast forming rafts and floating itself. Yeah, you can tell like trub and yeast look different too. So you can also kind of tell.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I don't know how to explain it, but like they look different. They feel different.
Sure. Well, it's one of the reasons why even when I'm dumping a tank, I like to have a sight glass on it because I like to see visually what's coming out of that dump. And maybe that's just me and that's crazy. But I don't know. I'm a big believer in, even when you have various instruments that are reading things out for you, and maybe it's because I've had such, some rustic brew systems to brew on, just getting the visual and the touch and the smells. It's such a big part of it as well. But you're absolutely right. I like to sight glass that up just for that reason, so you can get used to what's coming out of your tank and figure out what it is. You know what I mean?